All right. Good morning, trade pros. Welcome to our morning market update for Monday, February 11th of 2019. This is George Papazov, Trade Pro Academy. I hope you are all having a great morning so far. Hope you had a great Sunday and Saturday. Basically, a great weekend is what I'm trying to say. Hope you had some time to unwind with your family, friends, and loved ones because it's Monday morning and it's work time. We're ready for another week to grind it out and make some market money together as a group. All right, exciting things on today's calendar and this week's calendar as a whole. Tonight, we're going through the next two lessons of our futures course. We're on lesson 5 and 6, and tomorrow we're doing lessons 7 and 8. So we have a pretty condensed format in our course. Still not too late to join in. We're doing a live taping for all of February. This is the first time we've retaped our futures course since 2016. It's new, it's current, it includes state-of-the-art cutting-edge order flow technology, and a lot of it was developed over the last 3 years with questions you asked. And this time around, I'm teaching it like I want to be taught myself. Not like I know it. Many teachers teach like they know something, but I'm teaching it as if though I'm learning it for the first time too. So it's really powerful stuff. All right, that's tonight. What else do we have next week? And this is a really exciting announcement. Next Monday, coming up, not basically 1 week from now, we're going to start doing midday updates or midday recaps on our Facebook group. So you really need to be part of that. You need to take place, or not take place. You need to be there because it's going to be exciting. We're going to do midday updates, basically shut down the day, tell you how we did trading, what opportunities we took advantage of, explain the trades, and then outline what could happen for the rest of the day with some key levels. So the midday update will be what the morning market update is, except in the middle of the day for the rest of the afternoon. All right, so very exciting stuff. I'll put the link in the description in just a moment so you can be part of the YouTube or the Facebook group, rather. So that's what we're going to do our midday updates. All right, morning market fun fact. About $0.7 billion or $700 million flowed out of the U.S. equity funds in the week that ended February 6th. So far in 2019, investors have pulled out $26 billion US out of the United States equity markets. Huge outflow. Meanwhile, at the same time, roughly less than half of that, $11.1 billion, flowed into the bond market through Wednesday. So you can see investors are in a risk-off mode still, even though the markets have rallied up. And we said on the weekend that this rally was nothing more than a massive short squeeze. And now it's the real true test. Will new buyers come in? And that's the question we're looking to discover. This is according to a Bank of America study, and it's the most inflows in a bond market and the most outflows out of a bond market since January of 2018. So there's a repositioning happening here at the institutional level over the last few weeks, even as we've rallied higher for 2019 to start the year. In markets, Japan is closed for a holiday. Hong Kong is back to action, up 0.7% after being closed for a week last week. China's up 1.4. Actually, sorry, that's for China. China's up 1.4. India's down 0.4%. In Europe at midday, London's up 0.7. Paris is up 0.3. Frankfurt's up 0.8%. Strong gains across the board in European equities. In the United States, Dow, S&P, and NASDAQ are up 0.4 percentage point. All right, and that's exciting. So we're getting more gains as well in the United States, but very modest. And I think in today's price action, we're going to have an open near the overnight high, and then we're going to have a sell-off. I'm looking for some downside early this week for a little bit of a test to the downside, and we're going to explain why in just a moment. All right, crude oil prices are down 1%. Crude oil is currently trading at 52.08, which means we're down a little bit more than 1% now. Gold prices are trading at 13.11, now down to 13.0880 at the current market price. Gold has got 37 bid for at 8.7, and 8.8 just went offer. So Bitcoin's down 0.4%. 10-year treasury yields are up 1 basis point, and there's no events on the economic schedule today at all. There's absolutely nothing going on in today's economic calendar. So expect to see some more sideways, slower, chop type price action at the beginning and maybe intensify closer to the European close and the early afternoon. All right, U.S. stock futures are pointing to gains this week, despite the fact that border security talks collapsed over the weekend between Democrats and Republicans. And it looks more increasingly likely that we're going to have a government shutdown this Friday at midnight. So Saturday at 12:01 a.m., the government's officially shut down unless we come to an agreement. Doesn't look very likely at this point. And it looks like Donald Trump is going to have to evoke an emergency or declare an emergency, a national emergency, to use funding from the military to reallocate it to building this border wall, which will immediately be challenged at the court level, I guarantee you. And so this situation isn't getting any better. So that's one thing to kind of keep in the back of your mind. The equity markets are going to be concerned about as late this week. All right. U.S.-China talks, the last round of trade talks begin today. Deputy Trade Representative Jeffrey Garish leads a deputy level only meeting starting Monday. U.S. Trade Rep Robert Lighthizer and Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin are heading down on Thursday, and they're going to continue the fresh round of talks. So expect some stuff probably late Wednesday as you start to hear what the initial wave of talks led to. And then that's going to kind of gauge the sentiment momentum for what Steve Mnuchin and Robert Lighthizer are walking into, right? Because this is the last round of talks, technically. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman Hua Chunying said that he expects to see good results out of this last round of talks. However, Donald Trump has said there hasn't been much that happened. Larry Kudlow last week said there hasn't been much progress at all. And so it's interesting. All right, 60 companies are expected to report in the S&P 500 this week, their last quarterly earnings. That's the last big week of the Q4 season, then we wind down earnings. So this is fine. We're kind of in the tail end of the earnings season here. All right, and last but not least, Shanghai Composite Index rose 1.4% overnight as markets in China are back after a 1 week close. And here's the numbers through the holiday. This is like the Chinese New Year, right? So let's go through some of these numbers. They're pretty cool. So week-long shutdown. China's retail and catering enterprises earned over 1 trillion won, which is $148.3 billion US during the holiday, defying an economic slump to rise 8.5% from last year. So that's an increase from the prior year. Domestic tourism over the week generated revenues of 513 billion won, up 8.2% year over year, and number of trips rising 7.6 to 450 million. So as far as the New Year is concerned, China is asking what recession. They're doing better than the prior year. However, GDP numbers and trade is suggesting that there's some headwinds sort of coming at them directly. That's all we got for today's morning market update. Sell rallies until we start to take out some highs on high volume. And if the market really wants to rip, let it rip, jump on board, do not resist. What you resist persists. And if it goes for a run, buy the dips. Switch to the long side, trade this thing out. Because Monday could be a good, exciting day. Tuesday, Wednesday, as we advance more in these trade talks, when we get closer to the government shutdown, we could see some more selling. Here's the narrative. The first narrative is early week pullback, so we just sell off basically, and then midweek stabilization, and we need some good news on the Thursday, Friday, it gets ugly, or we get off to a good start this week, and then as situations and these trade talks, and we get closer to government shutdown, as this approaches, markets deteriorate, midweek reversal, slump in the Thursday, Friday. All right, but I do think we're going to see some downside, and I think that's going to start today. Because there's no economic events, you got to follow the 3 rules of low volatility trading. Number 1, trade less often. Number 2, trade less size. And number 3, take profits quicker, get paid. Because in a day like today, if you're not getting paid when you have profit, when will you get paid? That's the question. You have a phenomenal day. I'm hearing crude oil is moving. Look at that. It's down to 51.93. All right, down about 15 cents since we quoted it. Actually, more than 15 cents. It was 21 before. Now it's almost 92, so 30 cents. All right, you guys have a great day. I got to turn around, open up the trading room. There's a lot of volatility and opportunity here, and we will be taking advantage of this with the team. I hope to see you tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern. We have 2 lessons of the futures course. It's your only opportunity to catch this thing live, and then that boat will eventually sail, and you'll only be able to watch the recording version or the recorded version. All right, you guys take care. Have a great day. See you around tomorrow, 9 a.m. Adios. All right, trade pros. Crude oils are moving. Pretty good spill here, about 30 cents lower, 25 or so. Actually, 35 cents lower. Overnight lows right at this level. We got some levels set up for you on crude and on the S&P 500. Let's get into it. There's one level I'm watching right now that's important on the S&P. So let's start there. And let me tell you about it and what trades we could set up leading up to the open.